Alright, what's good, YouTube? I'm gonna do it like this today. So I ain't got no cameraman, no fancy ass camera, no Sony Vegas for video editing, none of that bullshit. But anyway, I just want to talk about some shit today. Talk about Chris Leben getting drug tested after UFC 138 and fucking testing positive. Now some of y'all might be thinking like, no big deal, shit happens, But if you look at Chris Leben's career, he's always had, some weird shit going on, DUIs, freaking out, in the Ultimate Fighter house, fatherless bastard, shout out Tupac's father. Anyway, so if you look at what he tested positive for, it's basically opiates, oxycodone, and oxymorphone. Now, some people, like I said earlier, they're not really freaked out by it. I'm not necessarily freaked out, but if y'all know anything about opiates, alright, there's different levels. Like, you start out with your codeine, your Tylenol 3s. If y'all live in Canada, y'all can get them. You got like Vicodin, hydrocodone. And you got Percocet, which is oxycodone. And then you go up further, there's probably like hydromorphone, Dilaudid. And then, getting closer to the higher end of the scale, the opiate scale, there's oxymorphone, aka Opana, which in my opinion is probably the strongest opiate in pill form available. And above that, I'd say would be diacetylmorphone, which is heroin, if y'all don't know that. So basically, Chris Leben tested positive for the thing that is next closest to heroin. And he tested positive for oxycodone and oxymorphone, which means he's mixing opiates, he's getting straight fucked up, And I can understand, him having a reason to have a prescription, because he's a fighter, but you don't know about opiates is, opiates don't stay in your system that long. It's not like weed where you can do it like, no stay in your system for 30 days or 45 days or some bullshit if you're a chronic smoker. Opiates get out of your system like in 2 days. So it either means he has such a high level of opiates in his system that even, like, if he stayed clean for a few days before the fight, and he somehow still tested positive afterwards, it means he has, a really high tolerance and he's using a lot. Or it means, that he was using leading right up to the fight. He could have been high during the fight. But either way, it's looking pretty obvious that he has a pretty serious opiate addiction. And, it's kind of weird how the UFC handled it, You can look at it two ways. Either they're trying to have respect for Chris Leben and trying to keep it, on the down low, let him kind of handle his addictions, but it really reveals some shit about the UFC, the kind of lifestyle that the fighters do have, Obviously, there's an addiction, there's a fast-paced lifestyle going on, They're using cocaine, like, Chuck Liddell is notorious for it. Or either he's just fucked up in the head from taking too many punches. It looks like he's fucked up on his shit, but it is what it is. Obviously, there's, some addiction threats going on with the UFC. But it kind of weirded me out when he tested positive for fucking 2 different kinds of opiates, It's kind of weird. But anyway, another thing that worried me about Chris Leben is his performance in the fight. Chris Leben is known for, going balls to the wall, being a zombie, never giving up, and now he pretty much gave up after 3 rounds, at least in my opinion. I mean, I was kind of smashed, watching it, but it kind of seemed like he was kind of a different fighter in that fight. And even maybe in the Brian Stann fight, he said he was sick, but honestly, he said he was sick throwing up before the fight. If y'all know anything about heroin or opiate addiction, withdrawals can be throwing up,